That was really something back there. Did you see it? Both drivers dead. Middle-aged man, young woman in her early 20s. Her whole life in front of her. Not anymore. I just wanted to watch for a minute. I suppose you could say it's my ego. Admiring my work, you know? You see, I was in both of those vehicles right up until the brakes locked up. I'm all the things that people do or think about doing when what they ought to be doing is driving. I'm your cell phone. I'm your MP3 player. I'm the quick glance into your briefcase or your purse. I'm every distraction, every stray thought, every momentary glance away from the road. I'm all those things, and I'm riding along in almost every car and truck on the road nowadays. I'm sitting inside the thing from the moment you buy it. Standard equipment, like airbags. I ride along with practically every one of you, almost every day, helping the law of averages catch up to people like those two. That's all it is, the law of averages, playing the odds. After all, every time you let me distract you, you're playing a percentages game. And the percentages always catch up with you sooner or later. Ask anyone who ever stayed in a casino for just one more hand. I've got to admit, that is one of my better efforts. Not just because of the immediate loss of life and property, although that is a respectable bit of damage, but it's not even over yet. Look back there. See how the police have the lane blocked? They're steering all the traffic around it. Every one of those drivers is looking over at the wreck. Who wouldn't, right? They're not watching the policeman or, you know, the road. They're too distracted. I'm very proud of that. But hey, I shouldn't take all the credit. Most of it belongs to our two drivers. That little car right there, the driver's name was Allison Reese. Allison was 21 years old. Good kid, sweet kid. Her folks didn't have the money for her to go away to college, so she was in her second year at the local community college, studying business. She also worked about 30 hours a week at the local pharmacy. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays, she would babysit her twin cousins while her aunt was at work. Still living at home? Well, she was. Right about now, her parents are answering the door. Police officer asking if he can come inside for a minute. After all sorts of people suffer from any automobile accident, whether they were in the car or not. The other one was Oscar Thompson, 58 years old, technician for Fabtech Industries. Goes from plant to plant checking the equipment, inspections, calibrations, that kind of thing. Worked a lot of double shifts, especially late shifts. You know, times when the equipment can be down for a little while. Lived alone, except for a little dog he took in a couple years ago. Beagle mix named Wally. In a little while, Wally is going to start wondering when someone is going to feed him. Oscar and Allison were both busy people. My favorite kind. You see, the busier someone is, the more often I get to ride with them. And this is a great time in history for me. You know, 50 years ago, I didn't ride with as many of you. Fewer cars, shorter trips, and nowhere near as much to think about. Sure, maybe a car had a radio. And yeah, sometimes I could talk someone into not paying attention while looking for an address. But nothing like nowadays. So many more cars, so many more interesting distractions inside the cars. My work gets easier every year. And I rode with Allison and Oscar almost every day, reminding them of all the things they needed to do. And today was no different. Here, I'll show you. Let's turn back the clock to earlier today. Okay, right now Allison has just finished her hours at the pharmacy. She's got a couple errands to run before her nighttime accounting class. Her boss kept her working a few minutes late to double-check some inventory paperwork. She knew she wasn't going to have much time to make it to class, but she didn't complain. Remember, I told you, she's a good kid. Hey, Allison, you know how your teacher is about latecomers? You better hurry. Come on, go around this guy. Good. Now, what are the 3 formulas you're supposed to have memorized for tonight? Do you know them?
Total compensation equals C. Total number of man-hours worked equals W. Time... or something like that.
You see? It's so easy. Too much for her to think about, too little time to get it all done. Rush, rush, rush. You people make it so easy for me to get into the car with you. The thing is, you never realize how lucky you are most of the time. You have no idea how demanding driving a 1-ton vehicle at a mile a minute is. Do you know that every 2 miles, the average driver makes about 400 observations and makes about 40 different decisions based on those observations? And for about every 40 decisions, they make a mistake. They usually don't even recognize their mistake because it usually doesn't amount to anything. But they add up. Hold on a second. Hey, Allison, don't you think you should call your folks and let them know that this class usually runs late? You wouldn't want them to worry.
Hi, Mom.
I love cell phones. Love them. They've proven in study after study that cell phones affect you the same way that a couple shots of hard liquor do. They slow reaction time. They limit your focus. And the studies have proven that it doesn't matter whether the phone is handheld or hands-free. They're all equally dangerous.
I'm on my way home right now.
But people who would never dream about getting behind the wheel drunk have no problem using their cell phones while they drive. Anybody who does that is working for me. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you. I'm thankful for anything that takes your eyes or your mind off the road for just 2 seconds. That's all I need. 2 seconds. Sometimes even less. You make enough 2-second mistakes, and I win. 60 miles per hour is 88 feet per second. Even when you're paying attention, it takes between 1 and 2 seconds for you to recognize a problem, and another second or two to react. Which means that most incidents eat up the entire length of a football field, even if you do everything perfectly. If I can take your mind off the road for even 1 extra second, that 88 feet can be huge. Just because most of those mistakes don't amount to anything, doesn't matter. My job is to help you make enough mistakes so that we have what's called the inopportune moment. Inopportune means inconvenient or untimely. And an inopportune moment isn't necessarily something that you create. But if you open the door and invite me in, well then. You're the only one to blame for that. The one time that you're glancing at your cell phone when the vehicle in the other lane blows a tire. It's not your fault that the tire blew, but it's 100% your fault that you took your eyes off the road.